Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you at St Mary's. Very empty here now, and a very empty feeling, I have to say, sitting here doing this video. Arsenal have lost. They've lost again, 3 defeats in a row in the Premier League, going down 1-0 here in Southampton in a game they simply had to win. After watching Tottenham lose earlier in the lunchtime kick-off at home to Brighton, it was a huge opportunity to get themselves back in the race, back almost on the front foot in terms of the Champions League places. But instead now they've ended the weekend, they've ended the day 6th after Manchester United moved above them in the league, and they could be down as low as 7th tomorrow if West Ham win as well. And 3 defeats in a row in the Premier League, 4 defeats in 5, and they've got Chelsea and Man United to come in the next week. It's been an absolute disaster of a fortnight for Arsenal. We came here today kind of hoping that something different was going to happen. We got the team selection we wanted, with Nuno Tavares back at left back, Granit Xhaka back in midfield. I mean, Eddie Nketiah was starting as a striker because Lacazette was out with COVID. And they did play better than they did against Brighton. I mean, they dominated the game. I think I've got the stats here. They had 23 shots. Southampton only had 9. Arsenal had 19 shots in the second half, but again, they couldn't score a goal. The last 3 games, they've only scored once, and that was a deflected shot from Martin Odegaard against Brighton. It's just not good enough in front of goal at the crucial stage of the season when you have to score, you have to take your chances. Arsenal have been found wanting. There's 4 games out of 5 now that they've failed to score, and it's really tough to see how they come back from this. But like I said, with the fixtures they've got coming up now, it's really difficult to kind of stay optimistic about it, because Chelsea on midweek, we know how difficult that's going to be. Manchester United on the back of a win today, Ronaldo's got a hat-trick, comes to the Emirates next week, and it doesn't really matter who Arsenal play at the moment, you just can't see them scoring a goal. I mean, they should have scored today. They had so many chances, good chances. Fraser Forster, Southampton keeper, had an amazing game, and he did make some brilliant saves. The one from Saka was brilliant in the first half. He made one from Smith Rowe, which was excellent in the second half. But he shouldn't have been given the opportunity to make those saves. Saka should have scored. It was a golden opportunity, and he put it at the right height for Forster. It was still a brilliant save, don't get me wrong, but he shouldn't have been given the opportunity to make the save by Saka. And the same with Smith Rowe in the second half. He scuffed his shot, kind of. Forster was a brilliant save still, but if Smith Rowe had actually, struck the ball cleanly, then he wouldn't have been able to make the save. And it's just the story of Arsenal's season, really. And unfortunately, for a time at the start of 2022, it looked like they were going to have enough about them to go on and possibly get the top 4, but now you just think the lack of firepower is going to unfortunately cost them. I think I saw a stat, in the last 73 efforts on goal, Arsenal scored just twice. I mean, it's a staggering statistic, and when you look at their conversion rate this season, they're way down. I think they're 17th in the Premier League in terms of their conversion rate from big chances, and that's what's going to cost them, and it cost them here today. And just a really disappointing afternoon. We've just been speaking to Mikel Arteta downstairs in the press conference. He was, I don't know, his comments, it was waffling a little bit, to be honest. He was talking about basketball with one analogy. He said it's very disappointing and difficult to explain, but this is what makes this sport different, because again, in basketball, if you have 25 shots and the opponent has 1, you win 10 out of 10 times. I mean, those aren't the sort of comments that are going to make Arsenal fans feel any better after a game like this, because A, it's not basketball, and so it really doesn't matter, and it's a completely different sport. He said we didn't have enough quality and capacity to break them down when we had the numbers to do that. I can't remember a game that Arsenal played in this stadium when we have created and dominated the game more and better. The players are really down, and they are down because they cannot find the right answers, apart from what we can do around the box, not to win the match. That is the frustration. But it's not just about the sort of not taking chances. The goal was poor today that they gave away right on half time. It came from a sort of series of set pieces Southampton had. It's their only real period of pressure they had in the whole game. And then there was a bit of a mix up, like Ramsdale sort of whacked into Ben White. Ben White was kind of down with looked like a head injury. He was off the pitch, and he ran back onto the pitch, and that seemed to play Southampton players offside. It was all a bit of a mess, and they scored. But Arsenal had so much possession, so much territory, and they just couldn't find a way through. And unfortunately, I wrote a piece ahead of this game today saying that January gamble that they took in the transfer market in not finding anyone to replace Aubameyang and going, in getting rid of Aubameyang, which I didn't have an issue with because I felt it needed to happen, that relationship would run its course. But to let him go and not replace him, that always was a huge gamble. And unfortunately now, at the business end of the season, it looks like that's what's going to cost Arsenal ultimately, because they're just not going to score enough goals. All right, player ratings time. And as you can imagine, I mean, it's really tough to find anyone in this performance who stands out. I was talking to Simon Collins from the Standard, who I was sitting next to watching the game, and we actually thought Nuno Tavares was possibly Arsenal's best player on the game. He went off in the second half when Arsenal kind of threw everything at Southampton, went with 3 at the back, brought Pepe on. And it's just really difficult to find anyone who had a decent performance. I mean, Granit Xhaka dominated in terms of distribution and, well, in terms of touches. I think Sambi actually had the most passes, 95, and 84 of which were successful. 63 of those were in the Southampton half. He had the most good passes of anyone on the pitch in an Arsenal shirt. And I thought, just as he did against Brighton, Sambi never hides at all. He's always showing, he's always there or thereabouts. He's just been asked to do a really difficult job at the moment under difficult circumstances. And I thought he did again. He put in a decent shift today, but you know, you're asking a lot of a 21-year-old midfielder who's been out of the game for the last 5 months really, and barely played any minutes in the Premier League, to come in at this stage of the season. And again, kind of Arteta's decision not to rotate his squad at all during the game and during the season, and basically just go with 12 players. It's kind of, again, it seems to have caught up with him a little bit, because a lot of these players who are now having to play look cold and rusty. And you know, I'm not going to dig out Sambi at all today, because I thought he was the one player who was really showing and trying to do some stuff. But again, if he's my man of the match, and I'm not sure, him and Tavares probably man of the match were Arsenal's best players, I thought. Because I thought Tavares was quite solid. He deliberately didn't bomb forward that much. I think he was trying to be careful and making sure he stayed in shape and all that. And I thought he did what he needed to do pretty well. But you know, I'd say him and Sambi possibly joint man of the match with 6 out of 10, but that's about it. I mean, Aaron Ramsdale didn't really have anything to do. Maybe he could have done better with a goal. I haven't really seen a replay of it, unfortunately. He was beaten at the near post, but it was very close range. I think Southampton, they had 1 shot on target, Southampton. 1 shot on target, and they win 1-0. Arsenal had 23 shots. I mean, that just sums it up. So Ramsdale had absolutely nothing to do. Maybe he should have saved the goal. I haven't seen a replay, like I said. I'll give Ramsdale a 5. Cedric Cedric had a nightmare, set pieces wise. There was 2 in the first half, 2 really good positions that Arsenal got into, right on the edge of the box, and he wasted them both. Just sent them straight out of play for a goal kick on both occasions. Awful. Cedric gets a 3. Ben White, I'll give a 4. Ben White and Gabriel, they didn't really have that much to do. So it's tough to really criticise them too much, because they didn't have much to do. So, you know, maybe I'll give them both a 5. Nuno, like I said, I'm going to give a 6. Sambi, I'm going to give a 6. Granit, a 5. Odegaard, he got on the ball a lot in the second half, but he just wasn't quite close enough to the penalty area. He was always on the edge of the fringes of the penalty area to really hurt Southampton. He always looked kind of likely that he might be the man to unlock them, but it didn't happen. Odegaard, I'll give a 5. Saka, just not really in it for me. He had 1 good effort that was saved. Other than that, it just wasn't really in the game. Saka, a 4. Eddie, I thought Eddie was all right, to be honest. Made a couple of decent runs, caused Southampton a bit of problems with his pace, certainly in the first half. I'll give him a 5. Martinelli, 4 for Martinelli. He had 1 good chance in the first half, which forced a save. That was forced his first save of the game, actually. That came after some good play from Eddie Nketiah. And in fact, I mean, Martinelli did set up that chance for Saka as well. So maybe Martinelli gets a 5. But I mean, it just sums up Arsenal's performances there. No one stand out, no one above a 6. It was just a lot of ball, a lot of possession, but they did very little with it, and just a really disappointing performance here at St Mary's. Sorry to say, not much more I can say on it. Like I said, I am off now. This is my last game for a week. I'm not at Chelsea, I'm not at Man United. A bit of family time this week, school holidays. I'm quite glad I'm off actually this week now. I'm not sure I can face another 2 games of this week, but that is how it is. It's finished here. Southampton 1. Arsenal 0.